I got a story for you guys. Hey, what's going on today, guys? It's Trey. Welcome back to the channel. As always, welcome back to sunny, beautiful Germany. Today, I want to share with you guys a really crazy story of a post that I came across on Facebook. And honestly, I just could not believe it at all. So stay tuned and let's get into it. So if you guys are new to the channel, hi, my name is Trey. I'm an American living abroad here in Stuttgart, Germany, which is located in the southern portion of the country. And so since we live here in Stuttgart, I'm actually a part of this Facebook group by the name of Stuttgart Expats. There's thousands of members in there. And it turns out that there was a post in the group this morning, and I'm gonna read it to you verbatim. It was pretty unbelievable. It's time to, quote, Americanize the restaurants around here just a bit. I was recently relocated here along with a lot of other military friends. We went out to a local place to eat and were shocked when the waiter didn't bring water to our table. He seemed a bit put off, but brought us water with no ice. Nope. We sent them back and he finally brought us glasses of ice water to start our meal. The food was great, and when he brought the check, we were all on one check. Nope. We told him we wanted separate checks. Once again, he looked annoyed, but did so. We explained that we were used to these things since we're American. And in America, the customer usually gets what they want. But he was pretty happy when we tipped him like Americans at 20% and told us to please come back and he would gladly wait on us. It should be noted that by the time we left, there were 2 other tables that asked for ice water as well. Period. All right, let's actually talk about this. So let's start by addressing the biggest thing. So obviously, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I live here in Germany. This person is an American that happens to be in the military and is stationed here in Germany. So this isn't America. This isn't an American state. This isn't an American territory. This is Germany. This is at a German restaurant on the German economy. It's not on base. It's not at an American commissary on base. It is on the German economy. This is a German-owned restaurant. And so I'm a little bit mind blown and taken aback by this situation, because not only is it just totally wrong to ask people to assimilate to the country that you're coming from. It doesn't make any sense to ask natives to assimilate to your culture when you're coming to their country. You're coming to their society. So why would you want them to be like where you're coming from? And I've said this time and time again on this channel. I would never travel anywhere on earth and expect anybody to be like where I'm from. I wouldn't want anybody to be like where I'm from, right? I appreciate people being genuine, being themselves, and I learn best by being around people that are in their element. Mexico, Canada, Thailand, Bulgaria, Hungary, Czechia, the UK. It doesn't matter where we are in the world. I want people to be genuine. And I would never ever ask that somebody be different, right? To make me feel more comfortable. And in fact, I would feel extremely uncomfortable even wanting somebody to be more American or to do something the American way in a place that isn't the US, right? It's just, it's extremely selfish, right? I'm really trying to hold it together in this video because I've seen this time and time again, you know, Americans traveling to other countries and like expecting people to do things the American way, which those people that are requesting those things, they think that the American way is the right way. And time again, we've seen that the American way isn't the right way, right? It isn't always the right way. America's not the center of the universe. It's not the center of the globe. It's just a country that exists at the end of the day. And I know a lot of us were taught that America is the greatest country on earth. At the end of the day, we've been to numerous countries around the world that are better than the US, and they are operating much more efficiently than they are in the US. So, you know, that was the first thing I wanted to address, is that it is just literally blasphemous to expect people to assimilate to the culture or to assimilate to, you know, the societal ways of your country, right? I'm in Germany. Why would I want Germans to be American? That makes no sense. Why would you even travel, you know, to another country? Why would you even want to live in another country if you want it to be like where you're from? It just honestly makes no sense. And so the next thing I wanted to talk about was the server's response, or server, waiter, waitress, whatever you want to call it. I just want to talk about their response, right? So German hospitality is real to me. I've experienced it. I don't know what it is. I've talked about this in numerous videos as well. Germans have this reputation of being cold and being angry and being standoffish. Totally false, totally untrue. Like, the German hospitality is real. People are so nice. They've invited us into our homes. They've been extremely welcoming and extremely nice. And so obviously I can tell that this waiter exhibited those same characteristics that I just mentioned: being nice, being open-minded, being friendly. And at the end of the day, he was taken advantage of by these Americans. And I don't like that. That actually really pisses me off, and it makes me really angry and frustrated, because that's why Americans get the reputation that we have when we travel abroad, right? As being selfish, as being, self-centered, as being extremely individualist. I hate that we have the reputation that we have, but I totally understand why it is that we have the reputation that we have. And that's because time and time again, people act the way that this original poster did. They go to other countries and they expect them to be a certain way. And when they're not that way, they automatically think that the country's bad. They think that the people are negative. They think that society is inhumane or doesn't care about people, doesn't care about service. And obviously all of those things are untrue. And it really hurts, because obviously my wife and I are American and we live here in a foreign country. When people meet us, they're very open-minded and friendly, but I'm sure in the back of their mind, they're probably like, oh man, I don't know what I'm getting myself into with these Americans, because I've seen the way Americans act, right? I've seen the way Americans do this and do that. I've seen them act this way in the UK. I've seen them act this way in the Netherlands. I've even seen them act the way that they act in the US. And it's like, we get this bad reputation, and it's not okay at the end of the day. You should never act that way in another person's country. And honestly, if you saw the last part of that post, the server said that, he would wait on them the next time they came. I think that person, whoever that server is, deserves a pay raise, a pay increase, a good review on Yelp or Google, because that person at the end of the day is the bigger person than those Americans that came in there and were acting arrogant, right? So I could tell that person was patient. I can tell that they went above and beyond and provided a service that they didn't need to provide. Why would a server need to provide American service, right? Why would they need to put ice in water? Why would they even need to bring water to the table if that's not what they're used to, right? I'm not gonna go to Thailand and be mad when I have a cheeseburger and it doesn't taste like how it tastes in the US. I'm not gonna get mad at the chef for making something that's different. I don't understand why people feel the need to want more, to want this level of service, or to want, this level of care, or to want certain things. At the end of the day, it's extremely arrogant. It's also really disrespectful to that individual, or to that society, or to that culture, right? I want to let it be known right now that if you ever see me, right, if you see this face, if you see me, or if you see my wife walk into your restaurant or walk into your business, we're going to appreciate being there. Right? We're gonna appreciate the fact that you're letting consumers come in and see what you have to provide, or see what level of service you want to provide. We're not gonna ask you anything crazy. We're certainly not gonna ask you, hey, like, we want things to be more Americanized. I would have to put my foot up my own ass if I were to even think about that, right? That's just not who we are. That's not who I am. That's not who my wife is. And a lot of the Americans that we met here in Germany that have lived here for some time, we're not that way, right? Any of the big YouTube channels out there that you see, the Black Forest family, Haley, Alexis, if you see any of us come into your establishment, we're gonna be respectful, and we're gonna be very appreciative of that business, right? And we are very appreciative people of this country, right? This is the country that we want to be in, right? If we wanted to be in the US, we'd be back in the US, right? So it's mind-boggling to me. Another thing I wanted to hit on that absolutely blew my mind is the statement when he said that in America, the customer gets what they want. That's called taking advantage of a business. That's called taking advantage of employees, right? There's a difference between, somebody making a mistake and then them fixing it, and then you saying like, okay, cool, like, hey, I appreciate that, thanks for taking care of that. And then doing the complete opposite, which is getting mad at that person, getting angry at that person, basically thinking that that individual is your slave, right? And that you're their master. That's not okay. That's not the American way. I just want to be clear. That is not the American way. There are a lot of Americans out there, especially boomers and older Americans, that think that servers, waiters, janitorial staff, they just think that they're supposed to like wait on them and like, you know, be there for anything that they need. Doesn't matter the request. They just think that those people are supposed to give them what they want, and that's not okay. That's not how it should be, right? Those are people. Those people are most likely using that job as a stepping stone. And so it literally makes my skin crawl whenever I see Americans in America treating staff disrespectfully, right? Or making absurd requests and just asking for like these insane things that they just don't need. They're honestly just very entitled. They're trying to make life hard for somebody, and they think that they're better than that person, right? That's a thing that's common in the US. When I was reading that, I couldn't help but be extremely empathetic and sad for that poor employee that was subjected to that American-based nonsense, right? I'm not saying that Americans are the only type of people that do that, but it's just, we're seeing it time and time again where Americans are demanding that other people assimilate to the American way, right? In the name of American patriotism. I don't agree with that at all. I'm as American as they come. I'm from the state of Florida. I love the US, right? I don't hate the US, but I'm really starting to be mortified by the behaviors that I'm seeing by Americans in America, but also by the actions and nonsense that I'm seeing by people traveling abroad. It's insane. And look, I'm gonna be honest with you, this could easily be like an hour-long video, right? I'm a person that is big on, you know, dismantling stereotypes and dismantling ideologies that view a certain group of people being a certain way. That's what I'm all about, right? And I think that's probably one of the biggest reasons why we came here to Germany. And you know, there's so much more that I want to say. I obviously value you guys' time, but the most important thing that I want to say is please, if you are American out there and you're deciding to travel abroad and you're deciding to visit new countries and experience new things, please don't ever be like this guy that made this post, because not only is it just going to be so much more difficult for you, but at the end of the day, you're putting innocent people in a position where they feel like they need to assimilate to American culture, right? And I could tell that the server did that because he wanted his establishment to have the positive reputation that it has, right? They don't want any bad reviews. They don't want any bad publicity, because at the end of the day, here in Germany, it's all about word of mouth. So if somebody says that, oh, this restaurant treated me this way, and then they tell their friends, and then they tell their friends, and then those friends tell their friends, at the end of the day, nobody's gonna visit that restaurant anymore. And so I don't want you guys to ever I don't want anybody to be put in that position, right? Where they feel like they have to step outside of their comfort zone or step outside of themselves to be something that they're not in their country, right? Let's pause for a second. Could you imagine a German going into an American restaurant and saying, hey, I want you guys to do things the German way? Or could you imagine somebody from Turkey visiting the US and saying, hey, I want you guys to do things the Turkish way? Or taking it a step further, somebody coming from China and telling an American restaurant, I want things prepared this way. I want my experience to be the Chinese way. I want it to be this way. That would never fly. Not only would it never happen, but it would never fly. Right? And so I don't know what it is. Yes, this is one post that I have seen on Facebook, but I have heard so many stories time and time again about Americans traveling to other countries and just straight up being nuisances. Like, they're just being terrible, they're being mean, they're being Karens, they're being disrespectful. So all I'm gonna tell you guys, and I know most of you guys, if you're watching this video, I already know who you are, right? I already know that you're a respectful individual. I already know that you care about traveling, and I know that you're open to ideas that are different than yours. So I just want to thank you for that, right? I'm talking to you. Yep, I'm talking, not you. Yeah, I'm talking to you. And yeah, just never, ever do that. It's not cool. It's really not cool. All right, so I know that was a quicker video. As always, hit the comment section below. Let's talk. Dialogue is huge. Conversation is massive, in my opinion, right? We will never learn, we will never grow as a society if we can't communicate with one another. And as you know, me, I'm all about communication. So please, let's use the comment section below and talk about this crazy story, because it's not isolated. I know this is one story that I came across on Facebook, but it's not an isolated incident. And I'm sure that there are Germans here that can probably talk about times that they've come across Americans that have just been super closed-minded and they want things here in Germany to be done the American way. And I'm sure there are other countries out there, other cultures out there that have similar stories about Americans. I want to be clear, we don't bash Americans on this channel. We don't bash America on this channel. I don't hate America. I'm American. My wife's American. My son's American. We don't hate America on this channel. What we do hate, though, is ignorance on this channel. And so I will do whatever I can to address the ignorance that's out there, to change dialogues, to have real honest dialogue, real open dialogue, right? I don't expect all of us to think the same, but I want us to be able to communicate and have real dialogue, because that's gonna bring along real change. If you can't communicate, you're SOL at the end of the day. You're screwed if you can't communicate. And so I just want to use the comment section as an open forum to discuss anything that you've experienced, anything that you might have seen. And so I know Americans get the bad rep, obviously, probably the worst rep of any country in the world for tourists, like horrible, terrible tourists. Americans are probably number one when it comes to that, right? That's no surprise. But I'm sure there are probably British people out there that are terrible. I'm sure there are Australians out there that are terrible. I'm sure there's Indians out there that are terrible. So let's talk. Talk to me about a time where you have experienced this, where you've experienced this person that's coming into your business or coming into your home and telling you to do things the way that they are done in their home country. I would love to hear these stories. So yeah. So with that being said, thank you guys for all the continued love and support. I love and appreciate you guys. We are closing in on 10,000 subscribers. I can't believe it. I'm just a guy from Florida that talks, that likes to talk, that likes to have conversation. And most importantly, I'm all about education. I'm huge on education. So if you guys like this video, if you guys want, check out all of my prior videos. I talk about everything, right? We talk about the US. We talk about Germany. The last place we lived in the US was actually Hawaii. And so a lot of my content on this channel is actually from Hawaii. So if you're interested in knowing more about Hawaii, check out my prior videos. It's an amazing state. It's probably one of the best states in the US. And I actually want to start talking more about our time in Hawaii, because I didn't really make as much content as I wanted there, but I still have people asking me constantly about Hawaii. And so as always, thank you guys for the continued love and support. So thank you. Mahalo for watching.